What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Once again, we are doing another F1 2018 gameplay. This one is actually my first kind of competitive online race, and just for a bit of backstory, if you guys are new to my channel, I did a lot of league racing, and that is like online racing against other people every single week, and this is kind of just a taster of some of that racing. So this is basically our first online race for F1 2018. It's a social race, 100% one around the French Grand Prix, around Paul Ricard, so should be a bit of fun. Heading into this one, we didn't really practice or anything, or at least I or none of my mates did, so we're just coming in with this with a bit of fun. Using my wheel, my Fanatec, for the first time, a long race, 100%, just seeing how it would stack up, how I would stack up using this wheel, because it is quite a bit stronger in the force feedback versus my old Thrustmaster wheel. So there's a lot of question marks, and just seeing how it all works, really, how the performance is, how the consistency, how the tire wear is going to be, managing fuel, ERS. There's so many things that we're just learning before we get underway with this season of league racing. So I can't wait to get started. This is a circuit that I feel like I've done quite well at in you know, career mode, and I feel like I'm massively in the groove here around this circuit. But as you can see there, leaving the pit lane, we were having some problems. The force feedback was jerking my wheel left and right, almost as if like it was in that 100% force feedback challenge video I did the other day. And this was proving to be a real problem in this qualifying session. Bear in mind, I did sort this out for the race, but during this qualifying session, I was really struggling, and this was something that I just couldn't get on top of for a number of days. And I reset all my settings just before heading into this, so I had to kind of find a solution kind of on the fly. And you'll notice over the course of this session, I was changing a lot of settings to try and mitigate the problem. And at its core, it was just the wheel moving left and right so much when we got to a high speed on straights. So that was really annoying. The banker time that I did was like 1 minute 31. Not good enough. I think we need to find another 2 seconds, to be honest, to be competitive. So yeah, I'm just playing around with the settings. I'm lowering the force feedback. I've lowered the on-track effects, which I thought was the problem that was jerking my wheel left and right. It was the force feedback in the end, but I didn't figure that out until the Sunday, the day after this. So basically the whole format of this was on the Saturday of the Italian Grand Prix this weekend, we did qualifying, and then on the Sunday we did the 100% race. So it was almost like emulating a real-life Grand Prix. And we're doing full qualifying as well, of course, so I was not panicking all too much. I knew I had 3 sessions to kind of sort this out, but I was still playing with all the effects. I lowered on-track effects to 0. That didn't solve it. Okay, so what can we have a look at next? I noticed that when I was turning, or at least a little bit of lock was on the wheel, the jerking was gone. So I thought turning up the sensitivity would fix it, but no, it made it like 10 times worse. So I was like, oh my god, what do I have to do to sort this out, man? This is crazy. So in terms of the calibration, I went the other way, and I made the steering less sensitive, but it kind of helped. You could see there it wasn't really moving on the straights, but now the big problem that I had now was the feeling that I had in the wheel was so weird, because I had this dead zone. I would turn the wheel a little bit and nothing would happen, so kind of inducing a little bit of understeer and just a weird feeling in the wheel. But we're out of time now in the session. This is our last lap of the session. I didn't want to use up more sets of ultra soft tires because I needed to save them for later on in the qualifying sessions and in the weekend, so I decided to go out again on a new set of ultra soft tires. It's now started raining as well, and I have no idea if I'm actually going faster or not on this lap. This is our last throw at the dice here. We're pretty much out of ERS deployment. We're pretty much out of fuel as well. We don't have enough fuel to do another lap. So this is it, and it's not good enough. It is a 32-0, and that is my session over. It's P16, and we are knocked out in qualifying 1 of this French Grand Prix. And as such, we will be starting from the back. Wow. What a session. 1.7 seconds off the pace of, I think it was Greek Master. But yeah, I missed out on making it to the next session by 0.008 of a second. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, that was my qualifying session over. For the next hour, I had to spectate the qualifying sessions. It started raining in Q2. It was inters, and then towards the end of the session, it dried up. Master Berserk went top there in the Ferrari. No, that's actually Chimchar, sorry. A lot of my competitors there opting to go on the super soft tires to potentially do the one-stop in the race. So that's the middle compound. Not many people using the softest compound there, which I found to be interesting. And now we move on to Q3, which is dry for the start, but it's actually going to start raining towards the end of this session as well. So the weather was all over the place. Greek Master sets the early pace with a 1 minute 28.9, which is a blistering lap, no less. And because the rain came in the second half of the session, the banker times that everyone set, that was it. That was pole for Greek Master. So amazing pace from him. Ryan was not happy with his performance that day, neither was Warden, and that was qualifying. So, with all that said, that's it done. We're going to go off for the race now, and see how we go. I have sorted out my wheel for the race, so I imagine I'm going to come forward. It's just a matter of keeping it clean and getting through the traffic. It's time for the race. Alright, so here we are on the grid of the French Grand Prix. Like I said, this was filmed on the Sunday, so this was the day after qualifying. I actually did a little bit of practice before the race, heavy fuel, just seeing what it would feel like. And I got a good feel of the car. The setup is locked to whatever we did from the start of qualifying. So unfortunately, I would have liked to have made some setup changes, but unfortunately that just was not the case. 5 red lights. And away we go for this race. The intensity from the start was really low. Like, everyone was taking it very, very casual. Being the start of a 100% race, there is a lot of time to make up time. And as you could tell, people did not want to crash on the first lap, which certainly helped me out because I certainly wanted to ease into things. That is Exodona. No, it's someone else who spun off on the inside of the circuit. We get promoted up to P13, make that P12 possibly, as we almost get pinched between Master Berserk and Exodona. It's also worth mentioning that there are 2 Master Berserks on the circuit right now. The Master Berserk that is in the Ferrari, his name is Chimchar, and there was some kind of glitch with that, and I have no idea what was going on there, but it's been a good start so far. We have our front wing. Unlike the other AOR social race, I didn't get crashed into on the first lap, so that is already a better start to this race than what I could have ever hoped for. So let's see what we can do from here. Next up, Exodona. He is a little bit all over the place. We're going to see if we can overtake him here around the outside, heading into the 3rd sector. Now we'll leave him space on the inside. And we're being tagged on the inside. We luckily kind of spun into his car and he kind of re-straightened me up again. But that was clumsy. Very, very clumsy. On the opening lap of a 100% race to get spun out like that, oh, I was not happy with that. And so, yeah, I didn't want to be stuck behind him for too long. He was a little bit all over the place. I didn't want to get held up by him. Like I said, the leaders, Greek Master, Warden, Ryan, all those guys are going to be mega fast. And if we get held up behind some slower people for too long, then our chances of winning will well and truly be out the window. Safety car is on in this race, so we're testing that out as well to make sure that that works before we go into officially league racing. So, you know, if there is a safety car at some point, that could definitely bail us out. This is the actual Master Berserk. We made a mistake there at the first chicane. We get around the outside of him there and into P11. Next up is our teammate, DLG Gamble. This guy was actually pretty quick over the course of the day. I did have a little bit of trouble trying to overtake him. I had to be, you know, clever and witty about the way that I went about things. I had to save up a bit of my battery at certain points to get past him. DRC Jared has spun out again on the inside like someone else did earlier on in the Grand Prix. And so that is us up into the points now. That is a lazy track extend from us there. Not even a corner and no real advantage gain there, but that is our first warning out the window. 3 warnings and you get a 3-second time penalty. Being such a long race, I imagine that penalties are really going to come into effect here. You've got to be quite disciplined. Otherwise, they can really cost you, especially if there's like a safety car towards the end. But now we're catching up to this huge battle pack. We got the inside of our teammate there, DLG Gamble. We almost get up the inside of Warden there as well. Such was the pace that we were carrying through there, and he was getting you know, just held up behind the cars in front of him there. DLG Gamble, our teammate, tried to have a go at us into the middle sector chicane. Didn't really work out for him there. You can see Roscoe, Warden, and a few other guys up here are battling quite hard. And I'm now taking this opportunity to save a little bit of fuel. You can see I'm gone down into lean. I've gone into low ERS deployment as well. Just so I can save myself for an all-out attack on the next lap. By the time we get to the straight on the next lap, we're going to go full ham and see if we can saw past a few of these guys. Because you can see they're battling so hard. We don't need to run in a higher fuel mix to catch up. We'll catch up inevitably, and we'll wait for the right moment to strike. Because all these guys are going to be running in higher fuel mix modes. They're going to be running in higher battery modes. And so I'll let them deplete themselves. And then once they're, you know, vulnerable, that's when we're going to have a go. And so we'll see how we go. Master Berserk, not Master Berserk, that's Chimchar, sorry. Fighting away with Warden. Warden doesn't get the best exit here, and we might be able to capitalize here. So let's see what we can do. Overtake, rich fuel mixture is away. DRS is open, and now we're going to box Warden in so that he can't overtake Chimchar. Chimchar actually moves to the inside to give me more slipstream, and I get up the inside of both of them into the middle sector chicane, and that is us up into P6. What a start to this French Grand Prix. 2 moves in 1. We got Warden, and crucially, he actually didn't get past Chimchar there as well. So now, crucial time in this Grand Prix to build the gap, to get away, and make sure that we put a car between us and Warden, and that could go a long way to cementing ourselves inside the top 5 in this Grand Prix. This is Harry Ryan fighting away quite hard with Roscoe Arm. They get tangled up in the chicane. They got a pretty bad run through there, and now we're going to see if we can strike again. Roscoe, who dispatched of him, and now we're going to saw past Harry Ryan as well. Just making the most of them squabbling, using up their battery, and then I strike at the right moment and get both of them. So, just carving my way through the field. Was really enjoying this sector of the race. Just getting through the traffic, picking my right moments, and just getting through. So it was really nice. And now 9 laps into this Grand Prix, you know, we finally have a bit of clear air. We can finally assess what the pace is like, how the car really feels, and see if we can punch in some, you know, faster laps to try and catch up to that laggy person up ahead. So, yeah, for the next, I'd say we're going to pit around like lap 20, and then we're going to go on to softs to go to the end of the race. So now I'm just assessing what the pace is like, what the tyre wear is like, and I was starting to figure out as the laps progressed that, if anything, I was actually slower than laggy person. I was making mistakes here and there. You can see I've racked up now 2 penalties as I'm trying to push the car, but I was just losing a lot of time in the 3rd sector. To laggy person, he was very, very quick at that part of the Grand Prix. Laggy person then made his pit stop, but unfortunately for him, he actually got stuck in the pit lane. He got stuck and he was never able to rejoin in the race, so that was the end of his race. But now it's time for our pit stop. New Zealand Ryan made his stop a lap or 2 ago, and he's actually going on the 2 stop today, whereas I and Greek Master, we're doing the 1 stop. So onto the soft compound tyres now to see if we can make it to the end of the race. I believe we can, but I'm going to leave the option open to fit on like ultra soft tyres towards the end, just in case there's a safety car or if the tyre wear is really bad. We'll have to wait and see. But rejoining on the circuit, you can see Warden is right behind us there in the Force India. Really crucial to make sure that he doesn't overtake us, because like I said, we want to push on, we want to catch up to the top 3, and with fresh tyres, we have the best chance to do so. So making sure that he doesn't overtake us, because I believe we do have a pace advantage over him in this race. But using all of our fuel mixture, using all of our battery here in overtake mode to make sure that Warden doesn't overtake us. We're going defensive into the middle sector chicane. Got the job done in holding on to that position. And I think Warden got a terrible exit out of that chicane there, and we were able to stretch out the gap and kind of pull away. So here is our first lap in clear air on the fresh tyres, and now we're going to see if we can go for a fastest lap. You can see our fuel situation is really bad. We're nearly a lap down on fuel, but at this point, I'm not really bothered about that. I'm just trying to push on to see if I can set a fastest lap and see if the pace is alright on this wheel. And if it is, then I know that our chances going forward are pretty good. Because up until this point, I still wasn't sure in my pace and whether, you know, I was still up to scratch versus some of these other guys. But Going through the third sector chicane now. Third sector sweeper, shall I say, through the final corner. Very understeery through there. That's something I'm still struggling with at this point. But across the line, we set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, 1 minute 33.8, which confirms to me straight away that we do have decent pace, and we're certainly not slow on this wheel. So that is, you know, really encouraging going forward. But anyway, lap 24, we're coming to the halfway point in this Grand Prix, catching up to some guys who still need to make another stop in this race. Dominator really struggling now on his soft compound tyres. I believe he started the race on these, or he stopped really early on in the Grand Prix and got a massive undercut. But we're going to see if we can overtake him round the outside through the final corner. It's so hard to stay on the circuit there. There's just so much understeer. So it's something I really need to get a grip on. But slipstream, DRS, high deployment modes are engaged, and we go round the outside into turn one. We just have more confidence under brakes, and we were able to get that move done quite easily. And Warden actually followed me through there as well for P6. But now we can see we're lapping some slower traffic. That laggy person who was on target for a podium is still stuck in the pit lane. And I believe Pomps for the Win 87 as well, who was in the Haas as well, got stuck in the pit lane. So some kind of a glitch with the Haas, or just certain cars in multiplayer just not able to get out of the pit lane, which is really, really unfortunate. And now we're catching up to our teammate again. He still needs to make another stop. So does Chimchar in the Ferrari just up ahead. At this point in the Grand Prix, we have effective P3. So to come from P16, basically nowhere at the start of the race, to now be effectively on the podium is amazing. I can't believe we've got this far. But now we're slipstreaming our teammate here up the inside, and that is P4 for the taking. Job done. Okay, awesome. So next up is Master Berserk. Oh, why do I keep saying that? It's so easy to say that. It's Chimchar. It's a glitch. It's a visual glitch. Just like how I had the visual glitch. It said I was Tia Ryan LZN in one of my league races on F1 2017. So weird. But then he makes his stop. That promotes us up into P3. And for the rest of the Grand Prix, the next 20 laps, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be all on my own. Stretching these tyres to the end, they will make it. No one else behind, I'd imagine, is going to catch up, and I'm not going to catch up to Ryan ahead because he is on fresher tyres now that he's actually made his stop. So yeah, I completely forgot he was on a 2-stop, and now he's just rejoined behind us, but this is going to be possibly the last bit of action in this race, unless there's a safety car. But Ryan, on his fresh super soft tyres, caught up to us in 2 laps. He made up like 5 seconds or 4 seconds in 2 laps and soars right past us. I'm going to see if I can mount a counter-attack here, heading into the next straight after this chicane. But you'll see the exit he got. He just completely drove away from us. My tyres, albeit, did not feel bad. They were just slow. So that's just how the tyre wear works on this game. Like, you can be lulled into a false sense of security thinking that your tyres are fine, but then you see someone else on a compound softer, fresher tyres, and you're like, wow, okay, maybe these tyres aren't as good as what I thought they were. But Ryan got the gap out to like 6 seconds, and then to be honest, we got bored. We just got bored, and Ryan slowed up and decided to let me go so we can have a bit of a battle for the remaining laps of this Grand Prix. Greek Master is leading by 45 seconds, so his pace at the whole point of this Grand Prix was amazing. We knew he was running with less downforce, and he was making it work. He was just getting free lap time versus myself and Ryan, because we were running with too much downforce. We were running with 4.6, but that still wasn't. It was too much compared to Greek. He was running like either 1.5 or 2.5 or something like that. And to be honest, coming into this race, we thought Greek was really going to struggle for tyre wear. But to his credit, he has done really well with lower downforce to maintain the pace, maintain the consistency, and just run off into the distance. So it's been an awesome displaying from Greek Master here, but for us, we're just having some fun. We're squabbling away. I think we leaked to like 10 seconds to Greek Master and Master Berserk behind it. Chimchar behind us. My goodness. 3 laps to go. Tyres are at 50%, and at this point, they're starting to feel pretty bad at this point, but we're still squabbling away with Ryan. He's still feeling pretty game to battle with us here. The third sector is where the big drop-off was. Just the front tires were starting to overheat a little bit, and it was just inducing quite a bit of understeer for the rest of the Grand Prix. But I think at this point here, lap 51, we started to realize that the car behind was getting very, very close. And so we're like, okay, perhaps we should up the pace a little bit. And that's what Ryan did. And I was just about managing to stay with him as well. So pretty much using the rest of our deployment for our battery, using up the remaining amount of our fuel as well, just to make sure that we could secure this spot on the podium. You know, I didn't want to get 53 laps into this race and then throw away a podium right at the death. So yeah, we'll see how we go. I'm also going to see if I can re-overtake Ryan in the process as well, but it's going to be quite difficult to actually do that given the tyre situation that we're in. But we're going to use the full effect of the slipstream, the DRS, all of the tools available to see if we can at least put ourselves in a position where we're actually in P2. But on penalties, Ryan is cleared by one penalty, but I want to see if I can get him on track regardless. Thrustmaster wins the Grand Prix. I think he's going to win it by like a minute, so that is absolutely insane. But here Ryan, he's weaving. He didn't think I was anywhere near him, but then he goes, oh crap, he's up way inside. And so it's side by side into the third sector. We've got P2 heading into the final sector of this French Grand Prix, and if Ryan gets a penalty here, we get P2, which would be massively, massively unfair. But I go defensive into this little sweeper, went in too hot, the tyres were just screaming and just completely fell off the circuit. Ryan gets the position back, and it's pretty much back to how we were. So coming to the finish line here, it's going to be P2 and P3 for us. I don't know the penalty situation for Chimchar behind. And no, he gets the podium. Wow, so Chimchar gets the podium based on penalties there, so we actually fall off the podium there. Oh well. At least we had some fun. You know, it was a good race. We charged our way through the field. I got a little carried away with a battle with Ryan. And yeah, we kind of threw away the podium, but at the same time, it was just an exhibition race. It didn't really mean all too much, but good to see that we made it to the end. We got a good feel for how the tyre wear was, how the netcode, just how everything was, to be honest. And at the end of the day, we went from like P16 to P4 with a lot of penalties across the board for everyone. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. 100% race around the French Grand Prix. I personally couldn't believe that there wasn't a safety car. After all the people that retired or crashed or had their own incidents, nothing. This old mate safety car is pretty hard to draw out of that pit lane, which is interesting. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. League Racing, for those who are wondering, will be starting at the end of September. So a good 3-4 weeks away. And if you want to take part, links in the description. Sign up, get involved. It's good fun. It's a lot better than career mode, I will say that much. Racing people is way better than racing AI. Till next one, goodbye.